It's Thursday, March 21st, day before the trip with the West Coast Trailer Sailor Squadron down to Cayo Costa, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I thought I'd give a quick overview of how I get ready for a trip, what I pack, and some of my storage options, if you're interested. Up forward under the forepeak, it's a little dark to see, but that has my tent and sleeping bag. That gets closed up and is watertight for buoyancy. Over on port, I've got the 5-gallon bucket for my head, and a kitty litter box or bucket for my regular trash. Port forward, this locker is primarily for sleeping and toilet. I've got things like my air mattress in there and an air pump, and toilet paper and handy wipes, things like that. Starboard forward, something you don't see too often on a cruising dinghy. This is a dedicated anchor locker. There's two 11-pound Bruce type anchors in there, each with 50-foot roads, and I think 2 additional 50-foot roads if I need them. In between the forward and aft lockers are these little alcoves that were formed, mostly because I needed a little room to slide them back and forth, the seats to get them in, but also just because how the materials worked out, it made sense to cut them a few inches short so I wouldn't have to buy an additional piece of plywood. But it made these nice little alcoves, port and starboard, that are perfect for water storage. I've got 2.5-gallon jugs. These are actually chlorine bottles I got at the pool supply store for, I think, $7 or $8. They're pretty economical, but they're a great solution for water storage. I like the 2.5-gallon size. It's only 20 plus pounds as opposed to 5-gallon, which is over 40 pounds, which is a little unwieldy to carry around. And I rarely go through 5 gallons of water on a trip. If so, I carry another gallon or two. This is usually what I use for my day usage. It's a 3-liter bottle I've got strapped in. On a longer cruise, I'll put 2 of those, and really that's my ration for the day. I try not to go through more than 2 of those, and then I'm good for about 4 or 5 days on the trip. I've yet to go through all my water on any trip. Coming back on port, in the aft lockers here, this forward one is mostly my personal gear and day gear. It's got my clothes in there. It also has personal electronics like my radio, also my personal toilet, like a little kit bag for my toothbrush and shaving and other toiletries. Coming back, finishing port, this is basically the kitchen. This is where I keep all of my pots, pans. I've got a coffee pot on board, again, frying pan, different things for cooking. And then if I finish up over on starboard, this locker, the forward one in the aft locker bin, is a rope locker. So I've got extra lines in here. I also keep tools, temporary navigation lights, things like that over here. And then starboard aft, another luxury since I have so much storage. This is a wet locker where I keep my fall weather gear. It's also my hamper where I put my dirty clothes, usually in another bag, so they're easy to take out at the end of the trip and aren't fouling up the cockpit. So as you can see, my cockpit stays pretty open and clean the whole trip because there's just not that much that gets stored here. The 2 buckets are forward under the little covered area there. I do carry a cooler, of course. This one I have added insulation to. This will keep things cool for 3 or 4 days. It'll keep ice as ice. I usually have ice by the end of the 4th day. So it's fine for almost all of my trips. Coming in the stern here, I have a little lazarette area, stern locker. What I keep in here is my butane stove. I also carry a couple of plastic bins that have additional food in it, canned goods, some additional scullery items, can openers, a couple utensils, etc. In addition to the additional pantry items, I do sometimes carry a little beach umbrella like this, which I can hook up on the boat or on a chair that I have on the beach. I do also have a chair back there, a nice beach chair that folds up into a little sack. I've got a spare mainsail back there just in case, and I also have fenders that I can use in case we tie up at a dock. I've got 2 full-size fenders back there. So as you can see, pretty well equipped for a 15-foot 10-inch boat. And what I like is everything is stored away nice and tight. If the boat were to be knocked down, almost nothing would fall out of the boat. Also, the likelihood of a complete capsize is reduced by the additional buoyancy on the sides. It increases the critical angle quite a bit. I've only tipped it over experimentally once with the lockers and had to go almost to 90 before it would actually tip over. But just they keep the cockpit nice and clean and tidy. And I have quite a bit of gear. I'm not lacking really anything here. I eat hot meals. I have hot breakfasts. I usually give myself a sponge bath every day or every other day. I shave. Really living large on the dinghy here. I think I've shown pictures before of the tent and how big it is inside. It covers the whole boat, so I can do it all in here. I can sleep on my sleeping platform. That's 1x4s I put across here, and they store two of them nicely along the centerboard trunk. You can barely see them. They fit in perfectly, really by accident more than by design. And I used to keep two others down there, but I find I really only need 3 boards. I got a slightly narrower mattress recently, and the third board just slides really nicely here on top of my lockers and underneath the side deck here. Again, looks like it was made to go there. It fits in so nicely. I could put a fourth on the other side if I wanted to, but I find I don't need it, so I don't bring it with. I do store things on those little shelves underneath the side decks, like a paddle, a bilge pump, my prop for the boom for the boom tent, the little A-frame, and those stay under there very nicely, also out of the way. All right, I'm going to finish packing up a few odds and ends here, and she'll be ready to go tomorrow morning after I pack up the cooler.